Translate into English while removing sensitive content. I said this person is the most secure man, and no one would refute that. That's right, he is like Jun Kui in the human world. The movie, Mr. Vampire, directed by Ricky La, can be said to be the pioneer of Hong Kong's vampire genre and Lin Ching-ying's breakthrough work. Actually, the male lead in this film is not Lin Ching-ying, but his two disciples, Wu Kuan-ying and Chin Su-ho. Wu Kuan-ying plays the first male lead, Chin Su-ho is the second male lead, and Lin Ching-ying plays a supporting role. But he never expected that this book would become material for making a vampire movie. His excellent performance in the film turned him into the main character. With the success of the movie, Lin Ching-ying also gained fame and became a true Mr. Vampire. When this movie was first made, the investors were not optimistic. But upon release, it earned over 20 million at the box office, making the investors very pleased. However, as time passed, strange incidents kept happening since the release of Mr. Vampire. In 1985. First, the screenwriter of the film, Huang Bingao, suddenly died, and another screenwriter, Huang Ying, also died in a mysterious manner at home. Both Lin Ching-ying and Wu Kuan-ying did not die in the same year, but they passed away on the same month and day. Wang Xiu-eng, who played the female ghost in the film, had a strange phenomenon during filming. Psychological confusion occurred, and Li Su-feng and Chin Su-ho's scandals were exposed, leading to their downfall. Could it be that this film is really cursed? Today, we will talk about this film that represents the hard work of all the creators, Mr. Vampire. With only one belief. The Taoist priest of Maya Shan, the wine matures, a new Taoist robe is inserted with 3 sticks of incense, given to the local wealthy merchants, the master's family, and the grandfather of the grave moving family, generations in business, quite wealthy. Business gradually declined in recent years, suspecting problems with the ancestral grave. So, they invited ninth uncle to perform rituals, relocating the long-deceased father to a location. When the workers took out the coffin and opened it, a black gas burst out with a puff. The person who had been gone for over 20 years, unexpectedly remained uncorrupted, which was recognized as a sign of impending corpse transformation. Ninth uncle suggested that the father's body should be cremated immediately, and that it was the master's father. However, the master would not insist on selecting a new burial site for his father, so he let someone carry the coffin to the place he lived and prepared for him, turning it into 2 disciples. Literary talent and self-cultivation placed plum blossom incense formations the tomb to suppress wooden spirits. To show respect for the deceased, they had to stay on the mountain with all the nearby graves. When it came time for Shasang to offer incense on a grave with little Jade's name carved on the tombstone, strange things happened again. Thank you. Shasang panicked and collided with Wensai, realizing that Wensai also encountered something strange. The incense they offered on the master's grave had turned into 2 short sticks and 1 long stick, causing them confusion. As the saying goes, people fear 3 short sticks and 2 long sticks, while ghosts fear 2 short sticks and 1 long stick. A family is in trouble if a man is short-lived, and a woman has a pearl. Odd life. It seemed that trouble was about to happen at the master's family. When they opened the coffin to check the master's body, they found that the master had applied a facial mask. After doing the nail art, he had the stylist hurry to perform rituals, using chicken blood and black ink root, pouring it on the ink bucket, so that Wensai and Shasang could communicate on the coffin, to guard against unexpected events. After numerous reminders, he emphasized that they must talk all over the coffin. However, these 2 young fellows were too playful, only messing around. As a result, they forgot about the bottom of the coffin. Master Yan Lin could not help but show off some of He big hands emerged from the coffin. These 2 kids didn't realize they had caused a big problem, and were still fooling around happily. Here you go. You killed me. A sweep almost sent ninth uncle away. Seeing the timing wasn't right, Shasang got on his bike and headed home. At this moment, Shasang had arrived. Ninth uncle heard a noise, got up to check, and stuck his head out of the door crack. However, it ended up being higher up than he thought, and when he tried to go back, he couldn't, making it quite embarrassing. Shasang managed to grab a stool, and charged up with a thud. Faced with life and death, ninth uncle immediately pulled his head back in. Meanwhile, the corpse transformation of the master's father had begun. Time was short, but Shasang managed to climb up the window to check on the master's father. With a quick glance, he noticed the wound on the master's father's neck and knew things weren't looking good. He hurriedly explained the situation to the police officer nearby. However, this police officer was the master's nephew, Yu Da Lang. He believed that ninth uncle scratched the master's father to death without further investigation, and arrested ninth uncle without hesitation. This police officer, Yu Da Lang, was the master's senior nephew. He was using this as an opportunity to settle private grudges. Ninth uncle was hung on a wooden frame, and Yu Da Lang picked up a uniquely shaped red-hot branding iron, and pressed it against ninth uncle's belly. Thankfully, he was just scaring ninth uncle. Subsequently, ninth uncle was thrown into the jail cell, and Yu Da Lang insincerely approached the master's father to kneel and pay respects. Unexpectedly, when he had just left, the master's father suddenly opened his eyes. Fortunately, ninth uncle had prepared for this. He informed Shasang in advance to bring equipment to the prison to find him tonight. At this moment, Shasang had arrived. Hearing some commotion, ninth uncle got up to check. He stuck his head out, but it ended up quite high, making it impossible to retreat. Shasang had a trick up his sleeve. He swung the stool, and with a thud, he launched himself up. In the face of life and death. Ninth uncle instantly pulled his head back in. At the same time, the master's father's transformation had also started. Timing was critical, so when Shasang arrived, he used adhesive tape to attach himself to the master's father's forehead, immobilizing him. Thus, ninth uncle was able to instruct Shasang to sprinkle glutinous rice while Shasang bounced on the bed. This promoted blood circulation and prevented further spread. In a blink of an eye, this pair had begun to play around again, with Shasang taking bamboo sticks and playfully hitting Wernsi's buttocks. Not realizing the seriousness of the situation. To help Wernsi recover, ninth uncle instructed Shasang to buy glutinous rice from the store. However, on the way back, he was targeted by a female ghost, named Little Jade. Using magic, Little Jade controlled a man to pretend he was being harassed. Indeed, Shasang came to the rescue, but in reality, the scenario was different, and it became a humorous situation. As a result, things didn't end up as expected, and the man accidentally injured himself. After a night of tumultuous events, with the man gone, ninth uncle figured out what had happened. He had taken in two apprentices, one was affected by a vampire's gaze, and the other was infatuated by a female ghost. Ninth uncle felt like he had lost his ancestral lineage. The next night, he got ready and waited by the door, knowing that once a vampire got involved, a man wouldn't rest until he achieved victory. So, he tied up Shasang, and waited for Little Jade to show up. Sure enough, the cold wind blew, and Little Jade came to find Shasang. Ninth uncle thought he had her cornered. He calculated the position and timing, and with a single click, he teleported over. Without Shasang there to hinder her, Little Jade easily escaped. Not long after resolving the situation with Little Jade, the vampire father returned. This old man had been injured in the previous encounter, and had been recuperating in the shadows. He had become a vampire master, not only learning to walk but also gaining intelligence. The front door was blocked by Wernsi, so he jumped down from the skylight on the roof. Shasang and the vampire father engaged in a fierce battle, but the vampire was immune to weapons. Exorcism didn't work on him either. They were forced to flee in different directions, and just then, another group of vampires arrived. It turned out to be ninth uncle's martial brother, who happened to pass by and came to help. Working together with ninth uncle, they managed to control the vampires. Ninth uncle noticed there was a moist aura in the vampire's mouth. If he could suck out this moisture, the vampire's power would wane. Ninth uncle wanted Wernsi to listen to the vampire's mouth and suck out the moisture. But Wernsi was too afraid. In the end, it was Shasang who bravely did it, managing to suck out the moisture from the vampire's mouth. After a while, the vampire's fighting ability was significantly weakened. Soon after, the vampire's father's body turned up again, determined to take his granddaughter away this time. Wernsi and Ting Ting ran frantically, trying to escape the vampire's pursuit. At a critical moment, ninth uncle and his martial brother arrived. They fought against the vampire, managing to rescue Wernsi and Ting Ting. Then they used a rope to create a net and attempted to trap the vampire. It worked, and the vampire struggled to get free. But Ninth uncle suddenly discovered that the vampire's mouth had a damp aura. He realized that sucking out this aura might render the vampire powerless. Ninth uncle instructed Yu Lang to try sucking the aura out of the vampire's mouth. However, Yu Lang hesitated and wouldn't do it. Finally, Ting Ting, summoning her courage, took the initiative and managed to suck out the aura from the vampire's mouth. As a result, the vampire was severely weakened, and the two brothers captured him. Just then, a large group of vampires arrived, creating chaos. After this battle, the vampire was finally dealt with, but the threat from the vampire's father remained. This old man had been injured earlier, and had been recovering in secret. He had become a powerful vampire master, with intelligence and the ability to walk. He broke down the front door, and the large iron gates could be easily toppled. The even larger wooden door was even easier to break through, sounding like a deafening crash. The vampire father had come, sending away his son. This time, he intended to take his granddaughter with him as well. Wernsi and the vampire father engaged in a fierce battle, but the vampire was impervious to